Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christina Slattery, and I am a Senior Account Manager here with Sophrona Solutions. I am going to share with you today the online registration feature and how to leverage that to better support your practice needs now that we are, I shouldn't say on the other side of COVID, but for some practices that's the case. Others we're still muddling through. And I think that that's important to note that everybody's in different stages. So the way you decide to use your online registration may be one way today, and you may grow that into to a different process as you go forward. So everyone who's on today, I just want to make you aware that we do provide more solutions than just our patient portal. We also have a referral portal, which allows you to leverage your practice in a manner to process referrals quickly, efficiently, and for some practices, we're able to support real-time scheduling, so it's a convenience all the way around. So it's really a way to differentiate your practice in a market. We also offer reputation management, which obviously in this day and age is even more critical than ever because patients are trying to figure out their relationships with providers and maybe find some closer. Maybe work has changed or where they live has changed. And then with the new environment of COVID, we did introduce our telehealth feature, and we'll go over that as well. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So there's certain things we just want to do a little housekeeping to, like we want to make sure that the website supports a patient portal button. Again, that's to get the patients to the patient portal utilizing your website, so we're increasing your brand recognition. We're going to talk about some scheduling script suggestions. These are ways that your staff can help get your patients to be a little more compliant and get them to that online registration. You also have the ability to have your email reminders and your text reminders customized. We'll go through that. I do want to make sure you're aware that our portal offers you the ability to have a customized portal announcement. And this is something that I'll show you you're going to control from your office portal, which is going to allow you to make sure that your message is current and it is in compliance with whatever your policies are. So patients' expectations are set before they come in for their appointment. You also have the ability to update your appointment instructions. Now, this is still something we would do through a support ticket, but it's very important because we know that this is a moving target. The way you're managing your practice changes every day, staffing issues, whatever it may be, you can make sure your instructions reflect those expectations for your patients. I also want to make sure that you know how to set a user alerts, and this is the ability to receive an email alert when someone creates a new transaction through the patient portal, whether that's online registration or a new secure message is received, or it could be a new bill payment or maybe a contact lens order. Anything that can be done through the portal, there's a way for those users with those access to those features has the ability to set a user alert. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is telehealth. And this is something we do offer the implementation for free. We just want to support our practices and our clients through this difficult and challenging time period. We'll go over that. So here's an example of a practice that's done a very good job of making sure that their portal button is very present. It's something that the patients don't need to navigate to through the regular navigation menu. It has its own little button, and that way the patient, when they're directed, can click on there, no matter what their technical skill level is. And then here's some suggested scheduling scripts. So we have two sets of patients. We have the patient who does not have a portal account, and we want to help them create a portal account, which can be done through the patient access in the office portal. And the script might be something like, Bronson, I will be sending you an email that will contain a link to create your portal account. After creating your account, please complete your online registration. And then after reviewing your registration, we'll let you know if we need any additional information. Just a reminder, Bronson, when you enter your data into your online registration, it's going to store that information. So whenever you need to update your information, it'll be quick and easy. And again, this would be the copy of the email that would be sent to the patient. They'll click on their Create Portal Account Now, and they'll create their account. If a patient has an account, the script may be something like, Mr. Smith, please be sure to log into your patient portal account and update your online registration to make sure that we have your most current information. This will save you time upon arrival, and with all the additional requirements for checking in due to COVID, like taking your temperature, we can get you back to see the doctor much sooner. And then some interesting facts that have come to light with the COVID being released. And this is that patients have always wanted digital check-in, or they have for quite a long time they've wanted digital check-in. So basically, the value of the patient portal with the online registration versus a digital check-in is that information is stored. So when patients are going to be filling out their information, it'll store it and make it much easier for them. A lot of what this is going to save is all those extra jobs that you really are stretched thin as a practice. You know, nobody was hired as a full-time temperature taker or, you know, a cleaner to make sure that everybody is safe and protected. But that's what we're moving towards, and it's going to be here for a while, and it may be our new normal. The other thing that's really beneficial is when a patient is not printing a form, maybe filling it out or filling it out, you know, and then bringing it in, is that the quality of the information is better. And obviously, there's no handwriting to decipher. And the additional benefit for you is that claims that are denied for simple errors like, you know, inaccurate social security numbers or addresses, or maybe it was just illegible so that staff guessed at what it was. And if that information doesn't match, they get to deny your claim. So this is a way to get those claims paid sooner. And again, you do not have to print the forms. You can work right from the office portal. The nice part too is that it stores the information so that you can't lose it. So if a patient comes in and they say they completed it, but maybe the staff didn't process it or missed it somehow, it can be pulled back up easily. And then most important, obviously, is that we want to practice social distancing. So it's really critical that we are reducing wait times and we're processing patients in a better manner. And the way we do that is we, you know, have the patients fill out their paperwork, we process it in advance, we contact the patient if there's any missing information or additional information needed. And that way, when they arrive, whatever your check-in process is, the paperwork is done. They can go straight back. You know, if your process is they sit in the car till you let them know they can come in, they can come in and they can go straight back to the lane, and the technician can work them up and they can avoid the whole front desk in most cases. And again, I just want to show you about the, for those of you that, you know, just probably haven't looked in the patient portal in a while because you don't have to do your registrations. This is what it looks like. And again, it's showing you that, you know, this information will be stored. And it's very easy for patients because the data is condensed. And when a patient answers a question positively, then it's going to expand the information they need to complete. So it's less overwhelming for a patient as they're working through it. They may, you know, be able to skip sections because once they answer no, that section's not going to expand with additional information that's needed. So it makes it very easy for the patients. And then, of course, what's really nice is that we do have the save and come back later button. So if I'm a patient, maybe I'm completing my registration while I'm at work. Not that any of us would do that, but I might be. I can save it if I get interrupted and have to get back to work, or maybe my children have interrupted me from a nap or whatever it may be. I may be an elderly patient that needs to go get my bag of plastic prescription bottles so I can fill in all my prescriptions that I take. Whatever it may be, It's nice because they can skip around through sections and they can always choose save and come back later, and it'll retain their information for them. It also has pop-up notifications for the patients. And these messages are really helpful to keep the patient feeling like, oh, okay, even if I'm technically challenged, I'm going in the right direction. I'm making progress here. Um, they when they do the save and come back later, this is an example of the prompt that they would get. And then here you can see that they can tell by the check mark that the section's been completed, but they still can click on review, open it back up, and make any changes they would like to make. The other thing that they have oops, so sorry. The other thing, they know where they have to start, but they can jump around from section to section. And it's also important to note that the practice determines which areas of these are required. So if you know your patients best. If you think I'm not going to make more than the bare minimum required, that's fine. Most practices at this stage in the game, just because of COVID and the changes in our world, and trying to get patients through and see as many patients as possible, are just having the patients complete all sections. And I will also add to that, not only are they asking them to complete all sections, they are also asking them to do it at each visit, when they're a couple months apart or more. So that way that there's no extra lingering time trying to get clarification from the patient when they arrive. And then on the home page, when the patient logs into the patient portal, it's nice because they can see the status of the registration. So you can see here that I'm ready to start a new registration. And again, starting the registration, if I've already got one completed, as you can see, I did complete one, means it's going to pull up that information I entered previously. So that way I know, oh, you know what? I just did this on August 4th. It's just now the 24th, so I'm not going to worry about it. They told me I only needed to do it if it's been a couple months. The other thing is, when the registration is in the process, you can see that I saved my registration, but because it says finish registration, that lets me know that I need to click on it to finish it, which means I've done some things. I'm past the starting process, but I haven't finished it to a point where I can send it to the practice. And it lets the patient know that information as well. And then when the patient has completed every section that's required by the practice, and that'll be notated by the green check marks, then they simply click on Finish Registration. The registration is then sent over to the office portal where you will process it. And the nice thing is the patient would then get an email confirmation that you've received it, so they know that it's there. And then the alert settings. Again, I'm always amazed when I talk to different practices and someone says, oh, we added this feature, but we didn't make sure we updated our alerts. No wonder we don't know that, a new contact lens order has come in, or, a new payment has come in. So it's really important on occasion, or as you're adding new features, that you review your roles and functions. The role is the role that I've been assigned as a user. I can see that. Also, I can see which functions my administrator has given me access to. So it's another good way that if an employee should have access maybe to the bill pay after you add it and doesn't, this is a great place to see if they do or don't have access, and they can let you know. The other thing they can do is they can see the status of secured messaging. So this is a newer feature, which is really nice. It lets you know if it's visible to the patient in the patient portal, which in most cases it is not. And then it lets you know what shared mailboxes that I as a user have access to. So I'm part of the administration, the front desk. So I can see secure messages that come into those shared mailboxes. And then down here are the alerts, and you can see that I've checked the ones that I would like to receive. I also, as a user, have the ability to control the email address those alerts go to. So perhaps for whatever reason, maybe I have very ultra secure email at the office, and I want to, on my vacation, have those alerts come to me at my Gmail account, so I at least know what's going on. Um, the alerts don't contain any PHI. There's no patient health information in them at all, so they can be sent here, and that way you can see them. And that's something else you have control over. It's found under the welcome at the very top right. You'll see Welcome to Sage Portal, and it's under the Manager account. And that's where you can access this and make updates. This is something each individual user has control over. So as an administrator of the patient portal, I can assign which features an individual will have access to, and then they need to manage their alerts accordingly. So they have to come in here again, mark which alerts they want to receive, and make sure it's going to the right email address. Customizing the appointment reminder. This is an example of one we've been back and forth a couple times and done some revisions because things have changed. And that's why I think it's important you know that you can customize these reminders, because you want to make sure that when you're sending the patient these reminders, that it's critical information they're receiving and you're setting the right expectation. So when a patient gets the reminder, they can read through all the detail. They then click on View and Confirm Appointment Now, or they can click on this link here where it says Here to access that same information. And then once inside the portal, you can add additional information, which I'll show you. If you do not have text reminders on, I highly recommend that you reach out to us. We know that they get the highest response rate by far. Whether I'm, an older patient, a younger patient, whatever it may be, we know that they respond to text messages. And I get a lot of practices when I'm working with them say, oh, you know what, we're ophthalmology. Our patients are older. We specialize in ophthalmology. I've worked in it for 30 years. We know your patients. We know that there's also, there's of course some subtleties, and you know your patients best, but I promise you, everyone that turns on text reminders always is impressed by the response rate they get, and it just reduces a lot of the workload. And the nice thing about our text reminders is when you log into the office portal, there is a dedicated texting report for you. And you can see the exact messages that are sent to your patients. And you can customize those messages. When you just go and hover over the sent, it'll actually pop up and show you the exact text message that was sent to your patient. So if a patient calls you up and say, hey, I got this weird message, you can say, oh, you did? Let me look. You can look them up, because you'll look them up by their patient, because we have these fabulous filters, and you'll look them up and you'll be able to pull that message up and say, you know what, we didn't send you that message. Maybe, maybe it's spam, maybe someone else got your number. And then you can identify for them as well exactly what to expect when they get a text from you, that your practice will be identified. And that they will log into the portal if they want to see their exact details that are beyond what's provided in the text. And this, I think, is a very, very, very powerful tool. Like, this is one of my favorite things, if you can't tell. The ability for you as a practice to not only provide an announcement to your patients about whatever may be going on, but the ability for it to be viewed in and outside the portal. I think that is just phenomenal. And this is where I was telling you, this message, you have the ability to customize it. You have the ability to, when you set it up, you can give it an expiration date. You can save your different messages. You can just create a new one and leave the expired one here so that you have the ability to view the messages that you have already put up. So if you want to refer back to them, you can do that. You can also decide, oh, you know what, I'm just going to deactivate this message. And by clicking on edit, I can get into the message and there's a little box. I just check the box and it becomes inactive. And this, again, is some place where the patient doesn't have to be logged into the patient portal to see it, but they will see the same messages repeated within the portal once they log in. And I want to bring to your attention too, on the manage parameters section, there are different areas that are being added to that to give you as our client some flexibility. One of the things you can do right now is you can go in there and see your secure message setup, and you can even make some changes to that. More coming on that, but you can at least get in and view that at this time. And then once a patient logs into the portal and they're on the appointments landing page, this is the copy that I was saying you can customize. So whatever your policies are, and obviously we highly recommend that you tell the patient the expectation is set that they complete the online registration. I mean, there are some practices, to be quite honest, that just tell the patient, if you don't complete your online registration, then we won't be able to see you. That's one way, depending on your patient base and how they will process that. Another way that I like to think of it is like you are an airline. And the way you explain to patients is, do you want to be in the priority line or do you want to be in the line that wraps around the building 3 times when you arrive? Clearly, it's not going to be that long of a line, but you can explain to patients it's like priority boarding. As soon as you get here, if all your paperwork's done and everything's checked, we just take you right back. The technician will prepare you for the doctor and you'll be all set. So getting that buy-in is important. So I think that's a great way to present it. If you have any other special instructions, obviously these are pretty general that everyone seems to have at this moment. But if you have specific instructions, those can be customized in this area. Simply submit a support ticket and say, I'd like to update my appointment instructions landing page. And we can do that for you. And if you need suggestions or whatever, once you put it in, put your support ticket in. If you want some feedback or want some help, you can certainly just put in there, would like a little help. And then we'll help you with that. And then telehealth. It's kind of interesting because Sophrona Solutions years ago actually had a whole telehealth feature, and it was not adopted by doctors, which is what happened across the country, right? Patients, just like they want online registration and they want to be able to do things online, doctors didn't want to, providers didn't want to, but now we're in the middle of this crisis, and it is something where we need to minimize contact where we can. It also could be that you serve patients who are in rural areas, and it might be impossible with the way public transportation is, or it might not be financially feasible right now for some patients to make that trek in. So with that said, I mean, it's important that you as a practice just determine, how does this fit in? How can this telehealth and video visits, how can that help you see more patients? And that's something each individual office and each individual doctor will have to determine, because what someone's comfortable with, someone may not be. But I did see a statistic today that shows it went from, 15% utilization of telehealth pre-COVID to now we're up in the 90s. So clearly there's a demand for it. So I think that's where, it's a good time just to figure out, where's it going to fit for me and what tools might be available to help you, because obviously there's a lot of online tools. Patients can attach things to their phones and do acuities. MIT is working on a virtual slit lamp with one of the doctors I worked with in Boston. So there's tons of things that are coming to help ophthalmology see patients through telehealth. The video visits, the telehealth video visits being a part of telehealth, can be turned on directly from your navigation menu. You'll see on that left-hand side when you log into the office portal, you'll see a telehealth menu item. All you have to do is click on that, and that will bring you to this page. The first few visits are free, so I just try it. Have one of your doctors get in one room and your staff get in another, and just try video visits, and help build the confidence of your team in having video visits available. And then after those first few, if you continue to use it, it's only a per transaction fee, and that's $7. So really, and you can figure out how much you want to use it and for what. We even have practices doing their high and IOL implant discussions, consultations for surgery, doing those through video visits. Now, they're paying, to use it, but they're not bringing the patient in the practice. They're reducing, their volume in the office, but they're increasing the number of patients they can counsel and make decisions for their implants for surgery. So that's certainly an option for you as well. And then the other thing I just wanted to say, because I know everyone across the country is in different states of trying to figure this out. Thank you so much for all you do, that you are willing, to be there, have your offices open, see patients as you can. We wish you all the health in the world, and that everyone stays safe, and that hopefully we'll be on the other side of this, and things will be different, but we will all be a little wiser and a little more kind to each other and take good care. These webinars are held every Tuesday at 1 p.m. With different subjects. And I would say, if you have any ideas or suggestions, please email them directly to me. Areas maybe you would like a little brush up training for your team. That could be anything. For example, maybe you want to increase your online registrations, but your staff doesn't really know how best to process them. We can have webinars on those types of things. If you'd like a telehealth demo, you can simply request that through our support department. Just put in a support ticket and they will schedule a time that's convenient for you and let you get a demonstration, and then you can go ahead and give it a try and see how it works for you. And then I just want a kind of a heads up, and I did touch on this earlier, that our secure messaging, we're doing some work on that area. And right now you can adjust your message types. You can also make changes to your shared mailboxes. There's a little more work that's being done on that. And as soon as that work is done, I will be hosting webinars that will help you think about how you could reconfigure your secure messaging to better streamline the process within your practice, and making sure that you're utilizing secure messaging in a way that reduces phone traffic and also improves the communications back and forth with your patient. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time today. I hope you found this information to be helpful, and I will look forward to having you join me for the next webinar. Have a great day. Be safe.